a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, guys, let's have a look at The Wind from A Child's Garden of Verses by Chee Hwa Tan. This is a fairly simple piece, and it sounds kind of impressive because of the speed, all right? But there really is only two ideas happening here, all right? So let's have a look at the very first idea, which is kind of our, I guess, windy idea? Huh? Anyway, so here we go. You're going to find yourself in kind of an extended position A, right? So your left hand will be on an A, and then but you have to make sure your second finger is on the E because you need to play this E and the F. Okay, the right hand will just be in position A here, and then you have to move it to play the G sharp B. Okay, with your third and second finger. All right. So it looks like this. We're going to go. We're starting with the left hand, and you're using your pedal. We got your sustain pedal with your right foot. Okay, so. And then here's our right hand. All right, so that is our first idea. So you're going left hand, right hand. And this kind of just repeats over and over again through this piece, okay? So in the first two measures, that was just the first measure. So here it is again from the beginning. First measure. Second measure, you just repeat it. But your right hand now moves to play this chord so that you're playing this E major chord. Okay, between your left hand and your right hand, all right? So the E major chord is the E, G sharp, and then a B, just so you know. E, G sharp, and B. The last note you just played was an E, and then your right hand will play that G sharp and B. Okay? And when you play the right hand, change your pedal immediately afterwards. Okay? All right, so it sounds like this again. We're going to move our right hand, changing the pedal right there. Okay? And then, measure 3. Same as measure 1, right? And then, last measure, A, then E, F on the left hand. But then you're just going to play with your 1 and 4, an A minor chord with the E. Okay? And then, with your 3 and 2, play the same chord that you just played. But actually, it's not an E major chord, is it? Yes, it's not an E major chord. It's this diminished chord here on F. Okay? All right. Now, that is the first line, okay? So you might want to practice that last measure one more time, okay? So it is A, an A minor chord, so E, A, C, and then this F diminished chord. F, G sharp, B, all right? And you're playing that with both hands, right? Okay, now jumping ahead because there's another idea in measure 5, but we will come back to that in the next clip, okay? So we're going now to where it says just a rustle. This is measure 13, and look, does that look familiar or not? So please try to use the same fingerings that we just used in measure 1 and 2. The only difference is you're playing at a pianissimo, so nice and soft. With a pedal change there, okay? And there's a fermata, and a fermata means, and that's that little, there's like a little arc thing with a dot underneath it, that's a fermata. That means just to hold the pitch for longer than is marked, Okay? And while you're holding, have a look at the last line, because in the last line, both hands turn to bass clef. So that means you're going to be playing on that side of the keyboard, all right? Quite low, all right? But look, even though this looks difficult, the left hand is doing the same thing. A, E, F, E. A, E, F, E. A, E, F, E. And you see it's going up 2 octaves every time. All right? And in that measure 17, which I'm just playing in right now, right? Be aware that's an octave up. It says 8VA. And in measure 15, it says 8VB, which is an octave down then marked, which is way down here. Okay, it's marked here. But you're going to go down here, okay? Now, the right hand is playing just this C, B, A, B, just like you did in the first measure. So it's the first measure over and over again, way down here. And you can keep your pedal down because we have the same harmony this entire time. You're going to cross over and play an octave up, and cross over and play an octave up. So you're displacing 2 octaves every time, and then there's a rest. You're going to cross over, and your left hand's going to play E, F, E. Right hand will cross under, and you're going to play A and B. And the reason I'm telling you those is that's extremely high, hard to read. So there's a lot of letter lines there, but that's an A and a B. All right, you can count up from the second ledger line there, which happens to be the second ledger line happens to be a C, right? And if you count up lines, it's C, E, G, and then we have the space above that 4th line up, which is A, and then B, and that's how you come up with that. All right, and so the whole last line is all played in one big motion, right? So you're going to make a crescendo from pianissimo to fortissimo, okay? So it goes really slowly. Crossing hands. Rest. And as loud as you can play it, or as loud as your piano will allow you to play it, okay? All right, that is the first idea, which happens to be more than half the piece. All right, let's have a look at the second idea of this piece, which happens to be on the second line and half of the third line. Okay, now this is a really simple idea. You're just playing one chord, the same chord in both hands. And you're either rolling up the chord or down the chord. So we're going to roll down the chord in the first one. So in measure 5, you can just practice by playing all the notes together in one block chord, okay? So just read all those notes together and play it. And you'll notice that this is an A minor chord. Okay? So it's A minor in measure 5. And then you go to measure 6, play that as a block chord. F major. You see? F, A, and C. Right? And then measure 7, G major, G, B, D. Measure 8, E minor, E, G, B. And then F major, F, A, C. And then you're going to go up now. G, B, D, G major, and then back to A minor. And that was measure 11. And here's measure 12. Stay in the A minor position, right? And you're just using the fingers that if you just play the fingers that they mark there, 4, 2, and 1 and 2, then you end up playing the correct chord here. Okay, this happens to be like a, what is that? It's like a E dominant 7 of some sort. Okay, and that's all of it, right? So to complete the idea, you're going down the chord and up the next chord, down the chord and up the next chord. And if you notice what's happening, right, you have to skip down 2 chords. So it's A minor to F, you go up 1, skip down 2, go up 1, and keep going up, up. All right? So it will sound like this. We're going to go down the A minor, and we're going to go up F major. Change your pedal. Every time you change chords, change your pedal. Here's G major, go down G major, change that pedal. You're going to skip down to E minor, change that pedal. And F F major, going down, changing the pedal. And we're going to go down now, G major. Change the pedal. Here's A minor. Changing that pedal, of course. And stay in that position, play the fingerings, okay? For the final E7 chord. All right, now there is a crescendo through this entire thing. All right, so you start at piano and you're going to go to forte. All right, now practice it a lot so that you're able to go fairly smoothly from measure 5 until measure 12. Okay, making the crescendo and all the pedal changes. Here we go. This is what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3. You notice the fermata there, okay? And that's it, all right? So if you combine those two ideas, then you should be able to play the entire piece fairly easily, all right? Good luck on all that and have fun, and we'll see you in the next video. That's it for this video. If you found this video helpful, please consider clicking on that like button and subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching.